Pittsburgh Steelers fans, what is going on? This is Jeff Hartman, editor of BehindTheSteelCurtain.com, with you for another episode of The Standard is the Standard. That's right. It's a BTSC flagship podcast. We've been doing this a long time, and you might be watching live on YouTube saying, where's the other guy? Yeah, that other guy. The other guy, Lance Williams. Yeah, he'll be joining us shortly. He got called into a meeting. It's running a little late. Remember, he's on the West Coast, not on the East Coast. And so I said, you know what? I'll go live. I'm going to explain what's going to be coming up in the coming days. My gosh, this is an exciting time for football fans and really for sports fans, because let's be honest, sports fans right now are just starving for something. You know, with the coronavirus situation in our country and around the globe, everything's shut down. And so the NFL is saying, look, we're going to give them something. We're going to give them the NFL draft, and that's coming up. So let me explain this while Lance is getting set up, and he's going to join us here in a second. Tomorrow is a very unique opportunity for us on YouTube. If you're listening in audio and you didn't know we have a YouTube channel, go to YouTube, search BTSC Steelers Radio. And I just want to make sure that we all understand that this is the first time since I've been covering the Steelers with Behind the Steel Curtain that the Steelers have not had a first-round pick. Now, we all will say, they have a first-round pick. It's Minkah Fitzpatrick. I get that. But honestly, we're going to be doing a watch party together. So myself, Brian Anthony Davis, Dave Schofield, the three of us are going to be like your linchpins throughout the night. And Lance will join us for a bit. Tony Defeo will join us for a bit. Big Bro Rich will join us for a bit. Brian said he might even have some other people coming on. And it's going to be really cool. It's going to be different. It's going to be really cool to sit and watch the draft with us. So we'll have our TVs up. We'll be monitoring everything that's going on as picks come in. We'll relay those to you, and we'll be able to talk about it. That's what's so awesome about the live chat, is that in the live chat, we have a little community. And honestly, it's really, really awesome. And I'm really looking forward to experiencing this. Now, other than that, I want to make sure that everyone knows what's going to be happening after Thursday. So Thursday, unless the Steelers trade into the first round, which we're going to talk about that tonight, every time there's a draft pick, we are going to have a rapid reaction show on YouTube. So when the Steelers pick in the second round, we're going to be going on live probably within 10 minutes after the pick is made. We're going to talk about it, and then we'll do the same after the third pick, and then we're going to also wrap up that day. So we'll basically be giving you 3 shows on Friday. On Saturday, it's going to be a little different. We'll probably have maybe in the early rounds, we'll do a show, but we'll probably do one show at the end of the day on Saturday to make sure that everyone wraps up and kind of get an overall view of things. Now, Lance and I will be back on Sunday with the Homer and the Hater show. So we're going to basically be tackling everything that happened. So just so you know what's coming up, it's a busy weekend. It's a busy, busy weekend, but man, is it exciting. With that, I bring in my partner in crime, Lance Williams. What's up, Lance? How's it going?
Yo, man, I love the upgrade. What's that? I love the upgrade. Finally. Yes.
Hey, well, I was waiting for you, I was like, I have some time to kind of fool around with stuff for once. It wasn't just me up here scrambling, just let's go. So we got the logo in the back. There you go.
I bet you we can put something in our video feed to cover my Stark walls.
Well, they actually do have a green screen feature, but I have not tapped into that yet. So
because I do that on Zoom. I use the SB Nation logo as my background in my Zoom meeting.
Okay. That'll be my next step.
Baby steps.
One step at a time. One a
year.
Yep. You all got your upgrade for the year. Don't go asking me for anything new. So there you go. All right. So Standard is officially here. Lance, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine, man. I heard the ideas with the shows. You know what, man? You were talking about you're going to be on like 5 straight days. I mean, yes. Since I'm here, I am, sheltering in place. I will be around, so just send me the links. I can, I will supply my level of hate for every single pick because I got to balance it out. I mean, bad is on the dark side.
Well, the thing is about that is that you have. Yeah, I mean, Dave hated on Deontay Johnson's pick last year, so there's some hate that goes on during the draft, and not just from you. It's always fun. The draft is a crapshoot. It's always fun, and Lance will be with us for a short bit tomorrow. Whether it's the whole time, that's up to him. That's up to him. But
I just wanted to try. I wanted to get the thoughts of the guys in the live chat. You guys like the shamrock lid? You see the shamrock on the side right there? As a little shamrock, the green lid, and I got the green lid. I usually get a draft cap every year, and I figured I needed a green one because the Steelers are going to need a lot.
All right. So, Lance, you're kind of freezing up a little bit. Here's what I want to talk about tonight. I wanted to talk about the fact that earlier today, sitting at the computer, supposed to be doing some work, and I'm on Twitter, and all of a sudden I see that there is this report. Kick Lance off there, get him straight, and then he'll be back. There's a report that the Steelers and the San Francisco 49ers, in one way, shape, or form, I'm not saying that the Steelers were shopping or anything like that, but there was a report that there was interest from the San Francisco 49ers in one Juju Smith-Schuster. In terms of a trade, what those trade parameters were not released. This was from a Twitter feed that was, I believe, NFL Rumors. I have never heard of this Twitter feed at all. This was not Adam Schefter. This was not Jay Glazer. This was not Ian Rappaport. I could go on and on.
It was the rush.
But it was out there. And I said to myself, I could easily write this article. It would probably blow up, but I'm not going to because I don't want to be a part of that. I don't think it's true. And now Jerry Dulac came out from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and said there is no truth to this whatsoever. Some people say, well, there's smoke, there's fire, but at the same time, he's saying that it's not true. San Francisco does have a first rounder deep in the draft, I believe, that they could possibly trade away. And that led me to not necessarily talking about this idea of trading Juju Smith-Schuster, but Lance, what would the Steelers have to do to trade into the first round?
They would probably have to trade Juju, a second-round pick, and a third. The compensation to get
Juju,
a second-rounder,
a second-rounder, and a third-rounder.
Yeah, it's very expensive to jump into because they're coming from 49, and I don't have the value chart in my head, but they'd have to jump a ton of value to get in the first. And it makes sense. It's cost prohibitive from a value perspective to get into the first round. And the further you're away from the first round, logically, the more expensive it is. So if you wanted my first round pick, and forget trying to jump to 10. If they were to jump in the first round, I'm talking like 17. Because the jump to like 10 and you have the 49 pick, you're going to have to give up a player, a second, a third, and maybe even a fourth to jump to 10th. I mean, the compensation to get up that high is prodigious. And I just don't see it happening. I will say this, though. With this draft class, presumably one of the best draft classes for the wide receiver position in the last whatever, they just throw out arbitrary years. I mean, it just shifts last 5, last 10, last 15, last 25. That's the beauty of the draft. They just keep shifting the bar so it makes sense on the fly. Throw in whatever year you're saying. It's a talented wide receiver draft. So if you could get a first rounder for Juju and some compensation with this draft, I might pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at logistics. You look at Juju Smith-Schuster's entering the final year of his contract, his rookie contract. You have to wonder where Juju's mind is in regards to his next contract. You know, some of these wide receivers are getting paid big time money. And I'm not saying that Juju would go into Art Rooney II's office and say, look, I want Amari Cooper money. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he won't, but I'm not suggesting that either. And I wonder, I'm thinking to myself, it's not just going to be a first. It's going to have to be more. Now, Michael Clark put $1.99 in the tip jar and says, could it be Washington that we trade to San Francisco? Well, yeah, you could try, but it's not going to be a first-round pick. Like, you're not going to get into the first round. I don't think that they trade Juju because Juju is still, in my opinion, an asset to this team and to this offense. Last year, I'm not going to overlook his first 2 seasons that he was remarkable for a third year that he didn't have a quarterback and was banged up the entire year.
It
So,
happens.
and for me, I'm not trading him. No way. I think they actually sign him. I don't know if they sign him now or if they wait till after this upcoming season, but I think he stays in Pittsburgh. I don't think they get rid of him.
Let me add two things to that. One, you always have to take into account what's the relationship between the quarterback and the receiver. And you also have to factor in that Ben is coming back off of a year. So you don't want to add more uncertainty to Ben Roethlisberger. So getting rid of your best wide receiver, the receiver that he has the longest relationship with, I think would be detrimental to Ben coming back and playing quality football. To the point of him asking for Amari Cooper money, he'll definitely ask for Amari Cooper money. He just won't ask it himself. He'll just send his representative to ask for it. And so that makes it easier. He'll say, yo, Drew, and I don't know who his agent is. Drew, I want 20 million. Drew will go, okay, Juju, we're going to try to get you 20 million. I don't think they're going to move Juju. I don't think it makes football sense, particularly because of the quarterback and their relationship with Juju on and off the football field. Here's another thing, though, to your point, Jeff, about offering Juju or trying to do a contract now. They're going to have to pay TJ Watt.
Yeah.
They're going to have to back the Brinks truck up to pay TJ. So do you want to do TJ, account for $41 million on the cap to Ben, and do Juju next year? It's a lot of cap.
It is.
That's a lot of cap. That's going to be significant cap hits because I think they'll do TJ next year. I don't know if they want to offer, but either way.
But they don't have to. They don't have to do TJ next year. They can use the fifth-year option on him.
They'll use it. But even with the fifth-year option, I believe I don't know what it is now. It used to be at the cost of the transition tag, which would be the top 10 average.
With the new CBA, we're not sure, but it's still going to be cheaper than if they were to sign TJ. I would say you give an extension. You pick up his fifth-year option and you give him an extension on that.
Give him an extension
because then at that point, Ben's off the books.
But that's after 2021. You're still going to have to pay. You're still going to have a big cap hit for Juju, for TJ and Ben at the same time. If they do it next year.
No, they will, but I don't think it'll be as bad as you think based on the fact that he'll be using the fifth-year option, the built-in fifth-year option. The hit won't be as bad as, say, maybe they don't use the fifth-year option and they sign him and they can manipulate the money accordingly. That's another thing.
I mean, if you do the fifth-year option, I mean, you got to have the space, one, and it's going to be, the fifth-year option is going to be around Bud's number because I think there's an escalator in there where there's some performance metrics where you can get more than, what it used to be with the transition tag. They're going to have to pay. TJ's getting paid. It's going to be more than $12 million for the cap hit guaranteed next year. And with Ben at 40, that's 52. I don't know how you do Juju at the same time unless the cap bumps up significantly. So those are just some questions.
Well, here's an answer that I have that it could be a blanket statement. And I've said this on the Steelers preview with Dave Schofield and Brian Anthony Davis. Dave and his brother Rich, who are very much numbers-driven guys, they love to break down things, but they would always say, with what money? And I was saying the same thing before free agency this year. And Brian Anthony Davis, I give him all the credit in the world, he said, they will find a way. Yes. And we laughed.
Yes, oh, yeah.
But they will. So if they wanted to sign TJ Watt, so you obviously have Ben Roethlisberger for 40 plus, and you want to get Juju, they'll find a way. They might have to cut someone like Joe Hayden, but they'll find a way. I trust the Steelers when it comes to manipulating the salary cap. I don't think there's too many teams, in my opinion, that do it as well as they do. Omar Khan's a genius. Kevin Colbert knows what he's doing in terms of contracts. I understand your questioning, but I'm also at the point where, as a fan, I'm like, they'll get it done. They'll get it done. They're not letting TJ go anywhere.
They can always get it done. You just find it. You just find it somewhere. It's just accounting. That's all it is. It's somebody else's life, obviously, but it is just accounting.
That is, and that makes my head hurt. But still, it's all right. So yes, they might honestly. there is I'm trying to think of a way that they would be able to trade up into the first. The 49ers having that 31st pick would be, you're talking about the tail end of the first round. What would they have to give up? I don't think it's going to happen. I think, Lance, you agree with that, right?
No, it won't happen. Stand pat, draft well. I mean, that's.
Okay.
I mean, stand pat, draft well. I don't think it's going to be any fireworks, nothing sexy. They don't have a ton of draft capital to do much. Just draft well. I mean, there was a draft where I believe in the draft that Troy Polamalu and Ike Taylor were selected. I think they had 5 picks, 5 or 6.
Well,
picks.
because they had to trade one of them away to move up, I believe, with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I did say, though, my bold prediction on Sunday, the Homer and the Hater Show, was that they will make a trade during this draft. And I didn't say it was going to be to move into the first or anything like that. I could see them making a move back into the middle rounds just to try to get maybe 1 or 2 prospects that they really, really want. So we'll see how it plans out.
Let me throw something down here, Jeff. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt about Leonard Fournette and the trade for Leonard Fournette. Now, some of the stuff that I've read, the compensation would not be a lot in terms of a trade. I think I had read somewhere that Jacksonville was asking for a 6th. And if you look at, I'm sure I'll look it up while I'm talking. If you look at Leonard Fournette's number, he's on a rookie deal. So I'm sure it's not very expensive. But I think my pushback to doing that trade would be he's as injury prone as James Conner. I mean, he's more talented than James Conner, but he's injury prone. And looking at Leonard Fournette's number, I could get it wrong. I'm looking at over the cap. His base salary is $4 million. Yes, his base salary is $4 million. So you'd have to pay him his base. So if you traded him, you'd have to pay his base salary. I don't dislike Fournette as a player. I just think Fournette is injury prone, and I don't think it solves it. You don't want to pair 2 injury prone running backs. I mean, that's like having 2 broken feet. You can't walk.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to the same discussion we have with running backs all the time is, okay, so let's say you sign Fournette. He was a first round pick, so he would have a 5th-year option available to him.
You're not going to
and you'd have control. No, but they would have control over that if they wanted it. How would you utilize him and Connor? Would you say, well, they're both injury prone, so we can kind of split it up evenly? The Steelers' history shows they don't like to do that. Mike Tomlin likes to have one back, and that's his guy, and it's always been that way since they drafted Le'Veon Bell in 2013. But on top of that, what would that say about your draft pick of Benny Snell last year in the mid rounds, which is still there's still value there? I mean, I'm not saying, yeah, I know it's your boy. Lance is not a huge fan of Benny Snell Jr., but at the same time, I don't know. I wouldn't be furious if they traded for Leonard Fournette, but I'm not saying I'd be super pumped either because I don't like. He's a talker. And he's a guy that a lot of people have said that he's a locker room issue. He was the one that butted heads with Tom Coughlin so much. He tried to get his way out of there. We know Jalen Ramsey was part of that group. I don't know, man. I feel like he would be – I feel like the Steelers have gotten rid of those players. You know what I mean? Antonio Brown's gone. Le'Veon Bell's gone. I don't know if I want that back. That's just my thought, though.
Well, you know me. If you can talk your way into scoring touchdowns, Look, I mean, I'm close to 50, man. Character doesn't matter.
Just win, baby. Just
win, man. It used to. Hey, man, when you get older, it's like, whatever, dog. Just win. Just get chips. I don't care if he's an absolute turd. They win a 7th and you get rid of him after that. Awesome. Great move.
Yeah. I mean, some people said that, when they picked up LeGarrette Blount, now we know how that panned out, but at the time, everyone's like, this is a great pickup. Great pickup. Veteran back.
I don't mention that guy's name.
All right, let's get to the other part of the show before I told Lance, I want this to be a shorter show. I'm doing 5 in a row, multiple a day. I said, let's do this one short. We'll do trade talk.
Baby.
We'll do
supersets.
There you go. Yeah, we'll do some predictions. We'll do some Q&A with the fans, and then we're going to call it a night. So let's talk about predictions with the 2nd round pick, number 49, position group. Lance, your prediction: the Steelers take what position?
Running back.
Running back. Okay. And I'm going to go with a linebacker. I'm going to take a linebacker. I think they're going to go defense with their second pick. And everyone's going to be so bad. They're going to want to throw their computers and they're going to be ticked off because they went defense again in the first round. But if you look at their depth chart, defense is where they need that depth. So someone like Devin Snowden said, I'm going to go wide receiver. A lot of people have said that they're the wide receiver. You can get a third round pick that could start for your team. That's how good this wide receiver class is.
So the
So
Oracle
I'm
is
going to go
saying
linebacker.
the Oracle is saying read his article.
Dave, yes. Obviously, I read his article. I published his article. So Dave did read an article. It's on the website, behindthesteelcurtain.com right now, about the case for the Steelers to take a linebacker with their first pick in the upcoming draft. And it makes a lot of sense. We talked about it on the Steelers preview show as we were talking about the depth at all the positions across the board. Look on offense, whether it's receiver, running back, they have depth. Look on defense, they don't have depth at positions like inside linebacker, safety, and outside linebacker. I guess my question for you is, Lance, are you expecting this second round pick, no matter what position it is, your expectations on that player are what? In terms of
to
how
play
25
to 30% of the unit snaps. So 25 to 30% of the offensive snaps or defensive snaps, regardless of who the second round pick is. They got to get a player that's going to contribute first year. They're in go mode. I mean, you got an old quarterback coming off of an injury. You can't get a developmental guy. You've got to get a guy that's ready to get in there and do something and help this football team immediately. That's why I say the running back position, running back or wide receiver, either one of those positions, and I'm happy. I want weapons for Ben. I want a position group that I think can come in day one and do work, like Mike Wallace did when he was a rookie, or any other rookie that comes in day one and does work. Ben needs weapons. Get the old man some weapons, because Bionic Big B, we need him to start chucking that thing.
I'm not. Like I said, I want people to understand my prediction of a linebacker doesn't mean I would be upset if they took a running back. If they took Cam Akers or J.K. Dobbins, if they had somehow slid to 49th, I'm not going to be upset about that. I'm just saying what I think my prediction will be. There's a lot of people in the live chat that are giving their predictions. Absolutely fire away. Some are saying, they're saying cornerback to try to replace Hayden. I don't think cornerback is a need early in the draft, because you have Justin Lane. You still have Cam Sutton, who can be on the outside. So we'll see how things pan out. If there's a position that you think, Lance, that they should not touch, at least until day 3, what are some of those positions?
How many days are there's 3 days in a
3
draft?
days. So you have round 1 on Thursday. He doesn't even watch. Round 1 on Thursday.
Right.
Rounds 2 and 3 on Friday. And then 4 through 7 on Saturday.
Quarterback. Come on, man. Quarterback.
So no quarterback at all.
That's the low-hanging fruit. QB.
I'm gonna say tight end, because they get Ebron, they pick up McDonald's option. And then on top of that, this isn't a good tight end group. From everything that I've read, from people that know a lot more than I do, not a good tight end group. So I said, don't touch a tight end. We don't need tight ends. I would even say cornerback would be on that list. I don't want to see him taking a cornerback until maybe day 3, 4 through 7.
I'd say cornerback day 2. Cornerbacks are valuable. They're super valuable.
Yeah.
I mean, you just need quality depth, at corner. So I would say day 2 always, at least for a corner, just because of the importance that they play in the defense. I mean, when you look at football right now, obviously the most important position is quarterback. And I think the second most important position is an edge rusher. And then you got a corner. I think that's the value there. But let me read this from overthecap.com. And this was an article they put out on the 20th. And it's called Using the OTC Valuation Metric to Assess Draft Needs. And they wrote this about the running back position. It said 4 teams have under 5 million valuations at running back: the Rams, Steelers, Lions, and Bucks. Also in the bottom are the Dolphins, Redskins, Bills, Chiefs, and Eagles. No team should spend a high pick on a running back, but these would be the squads that might most benefit from adding more talent at the position at some point in the draft.
There you go. I think the Steelers are tied with the Bills for the least amount of draft capital in this upcoming draft. I think the Miami Dolphins have the most picks at 14, and the Steelers have 6, and I think they're tied with Buffalo with 6.
Hell,
14,
with 14 picks, I might get a
picks.
call. Shit, I might get a call on Sunday. Yo, we got a spot. We got a spot for you.
It's funny. I had my good friend of mine that I had on the show a few weeks ago talking about the other side of the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade. He's a Dolphins fan, and I said, 14, you do not need 14 new players. He goes, well, I hope they don't take 14 players. And so it's like, oh my gosh, that's a nightmare for me as a writer too.
If I'm wrong, they have 3 first-round picks, right?
I think so, because they have their natural pick, they have the pick from the Steelers, and they have the pick from the Texans for Jeremy Tunsil.
I mean, they can absolutely bully the draft. I mean, with 3 first-round picks, you can just do like ludicrous, throw them bows and just knock people out the way. I mean, you could throw them bows like you're in the post. You're like, look, I got 2 first-round picks. What you want to do? And you offer me 2 first-round picks, you could have Joe Burrow. Here, thank you. Take him. He has small hands anyway.
Old small hands.
Little hands. Little phalanges. Small phalanges.
That reminds me of a movie that I'm not sure you're familiar with, is Austin Powers, where it says, I just can't stand carnies. Tiny hands. Smell like cabbage.
Is that the one with Beyonce?
I'm not sure if that line is in that movie or if it was in the first one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Mike Myers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a genius. Comedic genius.
Myers. Yes. And Beyonce was in it. So anytime Beyonce did anything, it's worth watching.
Carnies. Smell like cabbage.
So someone asked me, Rachella Brooks asked me, who's my pick at 49?
Good luck with that.
I'll get to that a little bit later.
In other words, that's when I asked Lance what position, because I knew that neither of us were going to give an accurate depiction of a running back or a linebacker that we think could be there. Because I would say
I got a name. I only know 3 guys in the draft. I need one guy in the draft.
Hold on.
I got a name.
Is your dad sliding you paper right now? Is your dad
sliding? No. He's ashamed of my lack of draft knowledge because he's an encyclopedia when it comes to the draft. So no, but I do have a name. What is it? J.K. Dobbins.
So you think Dobbins is going to fall to 49?
Yes.
I don't think he's going to.
Yes, I'm just throwing out the name that I have, and it's a running back.
There you go.
Or the kid from LSU.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I like, and I can't say his name, so I'm going to sound like an idiot, but I'll put it on the screen here because this guy, Kieran Broomsey, he actually spelled it. It's a linebacker from Michigan. Yushi, maybe? I don't know. I like that guy, and I'm not sure if it's a reach for him to be in the second at 49. He's a hybrid player. He can play inside linebacker. He can pass rush from the edge. A lot of people say that he might be undersized for edge or an outside linebacker role, but he can also add depth there as well. I like that. Uche, Wes says. Uche is how you say it. Uche.
I bet he's not. I'm going to guess he's Nigerian.
I don't know. But again, so here's a prospect that I've read some about. He was mocked to the Steelers in a couple drafts that I saw. I did some very preliminary research on him, and I said, man, I think that's a good pick. But then you think people are like, well, why would you take him in the second? He'll be there in the third. That's where I don't know. That's where I don't know. So my and Lance's NFL draft knowledge is certainly limited, but that doesn't mean that we don't know what we're talking about.
You're proud of it too. But yes, I think you said it best, Jeff. I think you said it best. That doesn't mean we don't know what we're talking about. I also like Jonathan Taylor. He has fumbling issues. But
that's an issue with me, man. When you're talking about James Conner, outside of injuries, what's his other issue? He coughs it up.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I've been watching. Just call me crazy, but I've been watching James Conner every single running play from the season. I mean, that's what you do when you shelter in place. You just watch.
2019, there's not many carries.
I watched 2018.
Well, there you go. He had more carries.
As good as he was in 2018, he still runs into the back of offensive linemen somewhat.
Like he runs with a reckless abandon.
His vision is not the greatest, but he does have physical dimensions that Benny Snell does not have. I mean, he does have lateral quickness and lateral agility that Benny doesn't have.
Now, see, it's funny because in the live chat, we obviously get to know some of these people. Michael O'Malley keeps on messaging. Michael, I see, he said, Jeff, can you golf yet? Our courses are open now. He just got a brand new set of Cleveland golf clubs. I am beyond angry about the fact that I cannot golf, a sport that is built for social distancing. I can't even go because in the state and the surrounding states, they have closed down. It's driving me up a wall. But no, Michael, I have not been out and hit my Cleveland clubs yet, but I need to.
I actually have Cleveland wedges.
I have Cleveland irons and wedges, ping putter, TaylorMade driver. But for me,
have a ping putter. You're shocked, don't you? I got a ping putter too, and Cleveland wedges.
There you go. Can't
hit them for SHI, but I do have them.
It's killing me, man. It's killing me. I mean, my son's got a little putting green in my office here, and I literally I've worked on my putting game. Like my putting is money. Like I've worked on my alignment. I've worked on grip, everything.
Just chipping.
I just can't get it. I can't get out and play. I can't get
chipping it. Just chipping the backyard. Urban Precious Metals buyer. I love that. Is that person really an Urban Precious Metals buyer? Talking about I always hate on Benny. I don't hate on Benny. His film hates on Benny. The film hates on Benny. I don't hate on Benny. I'm just looking at what I see. And it's, it's goal line back. That's what it is. He's a goal line back.
Is he even that? I mean, here's the thing about Benny Snell. Let's talk about this quickly. I haven't seen enough to really say whether he's a bust or not. Because, yeah, he played against the Ravens in Week 17. But then I saw in the preseason, he looked atrocious. And some people said, well, it's because he didn't have a good offensive line blocking for him. I don't know. And that's the thing. So typically, Steelers running backs take a jump from rookie year to year two. We saw with Le'Veon Bell. We saw with James Conner. Will he follow suit? I don't know. What the Steelers do, though, what the Steelers do, though, in the second round will dictate how they feel about Benny Snell.
Yes,
do you agree with that? You agree with that?
Running back, he might as well put a jetpack on his back because that's pretty much it for him. He'll really have jets. And see, when Jeffrey Benedict agrees with me, I know my point is solid. Jeffrey said, if you want to bring it up, Jeff, it's a little further up, but I'll read it. I agree. Connor has vision issues and he tries to go outside too often. Benny finds the safe yards, but isn't breaking big runs. He does have vision issues. There are stuff you can see on film. There are plays that are blocked that he does not see. But I like Connor. If Connor is healthy, Connor is very solid. I mean, he is very solid. Question I have for you, Jeff. In terms of the starting running backs in the AFC North, you're talking about Ingram, you're talking about Mixon, Chubb, and Connor. Is Connor the least talented? Is he the least talented? Is he the worst of the four?
I have not seen enough from one Mr. Mixon to. You have really high expectations.
He's super talented.
You think
Mixon is super talented.
Well, I have yet to see that. I mean, he's never done it against Pittsburgh, and he's on a crappy team. So maybe he is uber talented, but I would say that if James Conner's not fourth on that list because of the injury issues, that he's third at the best. I mean, Nick Chubb he's legit.
So you put Chubb one, Ingram two.
Well, where does Kareem Hunt fall on that? Because does Cleveland still have Kareem Hunt?
I believe they do. Well, if they do, they have the best depth at running back.
Yeah.
I would put Chubb.
You said the Steelers should have gotten Kareem Hunt.
Yes, I did. If you want to listen to that, I said it. I think that was my inaugural show. I said it. They should get Kareem Hunt. People thought I was absolutely nuts, but we wouldn't be having this conversation about running back if they had Kareem Hunt. And Kareem Hunt was dying to get back into the league. And, if you rip off some runs, nobody cares. They're like me. Character doesn't matter as long as you win.
To answer your question, I would put Chubb one. And Ingram, I can't stand that guy. I don't think that I think he's a system back. I would maybe even put Mixon over Ingram.
Mixon
because
2, Ingram 3.
if you put Mixon on that Ravens team, you can't tell me he wouldn't tear it up.
He would be scary on that.
And he would tear it up more so than Ingram does. Wouldn't you agree? He's more of a dual. He's more of a dual threat guy. He can catch the ball. He can get on the outside. I feel like Ingram's just a downhill guy. Maybe I'm wrong because I can't stand him. But
let me give you one more thing about the Ravens, and I hate to talk about the Ravens on the Steelers show, but here's a thing that Steeler fans will enjoy. And I text you and Bad and Dave this. Lamar Jackson will be on the cover of Madden 2020.
Yeah.
There is something to celebrate because we all know what that means. He gets lit up by Minkah Fitzpatrick. I don't know when they play in the season, and his season is over. Or he gets found out. He can't complete passes. He goes, and it's like Charlie Brown, the pumpkin, whatever, the great pumpkin, and it's over.
Yeah.
So, yes, he's on the Madden box. So he's on the cover of Madden. So let's rejoice in that.
Let's rejoice in that. I want to get a question for you. I'm sure, I don't know if you watched it or saw.
Well, everybody is saying, sorry, Jeff. Everybody is saying Madden didn't curse Mahomes. No, it didn't. So maybe the curses, or maybe Mahomes is just that guy to break the curse. You guys are right.
Well, anyways, I'm sure you saw some of the transcripts from, I know you read The Athletic, from Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert's pre-draft media session they did recently. And this was all done virtually. You could watch the interview on Steelers.com, which I did. By the way, I am not, and Behind the Steel Curtain is not a first sourced news site. In other words, we have no access to the locker room. We are not privy to those meetings. Like we can't get into the press conferences. We can't go to games. We've tried. I'll still try. And they always turn us down. They say we're not, quote unquote, legitimate. Anyways, there were guys, you watch this, okay? So they're doing a Zoom call, Lance. You're very familiar. I'm sure a lot of people in our live chat are very familiar with these Zoom calls. What does everyone tell you to do on a Zoom call? Please mute your microphone unless you're trying to talk, okay? Now, Burt Lawton, director of public relations for the Steelers, is orchestrating this interview. Everyone gets one question. You got to be ready. So they start off, Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Go ahead, Jerry. Jerry reads his question. All right, let's go to Mark Cavalli of The Athletic. Go ahead, Mark. Mark reads his question. I swear there were at least 6 or 7 reporters that missed their chance because their stupid things were on mute. And I was just, I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh my gosh, you get one chance to ask these two guys a question. One. And you missed it because your phone was on mute. Come on.
Put me on the field. I'm ready to play today. Put me on the field. I'm ready to play today. Center field. Coach told you to run out the center field. You ran the right field.
He said, just stay there. Just stay there. It's where you belong anyways. Look at you quoting John Fogerty. Look at you quoting John Fogerty. I never thought I'd hear the day that you would quote John Fogerty.
Oh, man, everybody has sung that song drunk at a bar. Come on, man. I mean, that's go-to karaoke. That's go-to being drunk karaoke, man. I mean, I probably sung that song zillions of times in Pittsburgh on the South Side. That's Silky's drunk.
Well, let me tell you one of the things that that really perked my attention. I wrote the article for the website. Someone was smart enough to ask Mike Tomlin about bringing Matt Canada on as a quarterbacks coach, was something we talked about on the show. And they said, what's he going to do outside of working with the quarterbacks? And he said, well, we're hoping to get some really good, quote unquote, fresh ideas. And I was like, yes. Yes. I was fist pumping on the treadmill. I'm like, yes, Randyland is getting some upgrades this year. All right.
Yes. There's pressure.
But hey,
there's pressure
for him.
There's pressure. I mean, that whole, if anybody felt comfortable in that building, including the coach and Colbert, I mean, Colbert's on 1-year deals. Tomlin's deal's up next year. Ben's deal is up next year. There's pressure in that building. I will guarantee you, Mr. Rooney is putting pressure on everyone. He's pushing buttons, and you're going to have to put your ego to the background if you aren't going to be open to ideas to make that football team better. I like it hot in the building. It's hot in that building, and it better be hot because they got a franchise quarterback for 2 seasons, and you don't know what you have when he comes back. Presumably, the beard, or is it Bionic Big Beard Big Ben? That's 4 B's. Bionic Beard Big Ben. He better be ready. So it's pressure. It's pressure on that building, and I like it.
So let me run. This is how my mind works. And I understand that for the average person, when they listen to that interview and they hear that one answer, they don't think the way that I do. But I immediately think, how is this going to impact the roster? Because guess what? Matt Canada has a working relationship with James Conner. He was the offensive coordinator at Pitt, James Conner's final year. He has a relationship with Jalen Samuels. He was the offensive coordinator at North Carolina State when Jalen Samuels was in there and had all those touchdowns. So now I'm thinking to myself, here's a guy that has worked with James Conner, has seen success with James Conner. Here's a guy that's worked with Jalen Samuels, had success with Jalen Samuels. How is this going to impact the decisions that are made? And I think that, everyone's saying, well, if they draft a running back, everyone's assuming that Kareth White and Jalen Samuels are gone. Maybe not so fast. Because if Matt Canada is the one that he's like, hey, Jalen Samuels might not be the running back, but I can make him a mismatch nightmare for you. I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
It does not hurt you to have a good relationship with your former coordinator who got a ton of production out of you. And you are Inspector Sleuth over there and put this dot with this dot and this dot with that. It works out. It works out. Look, you got a guy that has a relationship with Connor, a guy that has a relationship with Samuel. He knows how to best utilize both players. It's a no-brainer. That would mean, I think, and Jeffrey Benedict asked, if the Steelers draft a running back, do they drop Samuels or Schnell? And do they think Canada has an impact on that decision? To your point, Canada would absolutely have an impact on that decision because if Canada likes both players, he is going to be in the war room saying, we don't need a running back. I know how to use these guys. I can get the most out of them. Let's go get a wide receiver. That's where Canada will have the impact. If they take a running back, because Canada has had a positive impact with Connor and Samuels, Benny, just might be a jet. It would be writing on the wall. It'd be Daniel for him. It'd be writing on the wall.
I don't know, because we know how prideful that organization is. They do not like to admit they were wrong. And if you cut a player in going into his second season, you are basically putting on a big billboard, we messed up. We blew this pick. He was a 4th-round pick, and that's not considered, we're not talking Senquez Golson, El Busto here. We're talking about a 4th-round pick, but still, you don't even get to year 2 with that guy. Come on now. That's a bad pick.
I'm Mike Tomlin. We're just committed to winning football games, and we're going to make sure that we put the best 53 out on the field to win said football games. The standard is the standard, and that won't change. And the standard is winning football games. And we're going to put the best men out there to get that done.
I tell you, if it does play out that way, you know what will happen? They won't cut him. Benny Snell will get hurt. I'm using air quotes for those listening in audio. He will find his way onto the injured reserve list and miss a year. That's your trade.
That's your trade right there. Can you package Benny Snell and a pick to move up if they take a running back? Maybe that's your trade.
But to move up where? Who is going to want Benny Snell after his rookie year? Why is that an attractive value?
Steeler Nation wants Benny Snell. Steeler Nation believes that every draft pick is a Hall of Famer. So maybe you can convince someone else that you can.
Well, that's why this is the best weekend for the NFL, because everyone has hope. Everyone has hope. Everyone sees their draft picks. The Miami Dolphins are looking at 14 picks, and they're like, oh, yeah. The Cincinnati Bengals are wondering, are they going to trade their top pick and take someone else and let Joe Burrow go somewhere? I don't know. it's intrigue, man. This weekend is nothing but intrigue.
So Jeff, you got to ask Dave the question. So Dave posted in a live chat, Snell has the second most rushing yards, I think, since a rookie, passed since like 1995 or something. That Dave wrote it. That, I mean, I guess. I guess.
Snell has the second most rushing yards of a rookie Steelers running back since 1995, behind Le'Veon Bell. That's
okay. Exactly.
That sounds like a reaching stat. We're reaching a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. We felt exactly. Yeah, okay. All right, let's just deal with what he did on the football field. I mean, come on. That's great. That's fantastic. That's when you know we've been doing this show a long time, because our reaction and expression was exactly the same when it comes to that particular player.
Let me just say, because you had talked about packaging Benny Snell into a trade, let me just make a blanket statement to anyone out there listening. And it's a situation where you're not going to be able to trade like a James Washington and move up to the first round. You would have to give up like your 49th pick, James Washington, and then maybe a pick next year to move up into the first round. And if so, it'd be like the very end of the first round. James Washington is not a player that teams are clamoring for. He's just not that guy. And so I would question whether Juju Smith-Schuster is one of those type of players. And that's what we started the show off with in regards to the rumor around him and San Francisco supposedly trying to court him and seeing what the Steelers would want. If I'm the Steelers right now, if someone calls me up and says, hey, what's it going to take for this guy? I'm listening to everything. Can
I defend you with some of the guys in the live chat? I think it was King David 22. He asked, is this the Hater and the Hater show? Jeff, a.k.a. Joy, is the most positive Steeler fan ever. If Jeff says negative stuff, it's because of my influence. I am the bad influence on Jeff. I will take all of the visceral. I'll take all that hate from the live chat, from the fans. It is me. I am the negative influence on Jeff. Jeff is joy. I'm pain. He's the homer. I'm the hater. He's also Jason Statham.
Yeah, I've gotten that a bunch, actually. I'm a pretty positive guy in general. Like Lance, you talked to me a bunch off of the air. I mean, I'm not a negative guy. I like to see the glasses half full. So that's why when people are always saying, oh, there's not going to be a season this year, I'm like, I think, well, let's hope so. So, all right, Lance, we got a busy weekend ahead of us, my friend. A busy weekend ahead of us. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, not the Steelers preview. It's a watch party. The first round of the 2020 NFL Draft watch party. I'm going to be there hosting. I've got the sound on my phone of the same sound that ESPN makes when a pick comes in. So when a pick is announced,
Dave is mad at me.
It's like those little bells like ding.
I'm an agitator. See, Dave is mad at me. He said I answered a question someone asked. What's wrong with answering?
Dave's getting fired up.
Dave's getting fired up. I gotta ask. Since we're going to be watching the draft, it takes a while. Are they going to take as much time in between the picks as they normally do? What's it, like 10 minutes?
No, in the first round, I believe they used to have 5 in between picks, 5 minutes. And they don't have to use all that time. And so it's going to be a lot of rambling. It's going to be us we'll have some questions to fill some time. We're going to be talking about picks, getting people in the live chat involved, because when the TVs go to commercial, we're still here. There's no commercials. So it'll be interesting. I got to say, this is the first time we've ever done this. So
I need healthy snack ideas. You got to hit me off. I need healthy snack ideas.
I'll help you out.
Why don't
you send us off? Why don't you send us off so that we can get ourselves mentally ready for tomorrow?
Steeler Nation, as always, tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe.
Absolutely. Thank you all for tuning into another episode of The Standard. It's a Standard. Make sure you check us out tomorrow night. Watch party time, day 1, NFL draft. Go Minka Fitzpatrick. We'll see you.